All right, everybody. My Scribian. Let's get started. Topic that I want to talk today about is credit card debt. And my question to you: can you live debt-free lifestyle? That's my question. And is that possible? Many of you guys gonna debate on this question. Some of you guys gonna say, "Well, we live in America. That's impossible." Some of you guys gonna agree and say, yeah, of course it's possible. Let's go back. Credit card been around what, probably 60, 70 years. Matter of fact, I'm gonna just ask Chat GPT. I didn't do my homework before I started because it was exciting topic to talk because I get this question asked a lot of times. So I'm in my Chat GPT. I'm gonna ask, what year was first credit card given? Let's see what's the answer. Interesting, huh? This was back in 1950 by Diners Club. So 1950, that's 75 years ago. Okay? So 75 years ago, first time banks gave credit card to people. And that means before that, people didn't have credit cards. So they were living without it. What happened after 1950? So I think a lot of banks decided to give credit cards to people. At the beginning, I'm sure it was not easy to qualify to get a credit card. But as years passed by, they made it easier, easier, easier. And it came to a point where everyone can have credit card. Even if you have the worst credit, you still can have a credit card. There is a thing called secured credit card where you put your own money to become your own limit. So this way you can build up your credit and eventually get offers from the banks again once your credit builds up again. Well, that's a different story. Do I have credit cards? Absolutely, I do. Why? Because I believe there are a lot of stuff that you purchase in life. You do need a good FICO score, and that helps you to get the best deal, zero interest, low interest, and absolutely having a powerful credit score is very important. But the question is, how do you use your credit? Do you use it in a way where you make and spend a lot of your money goes into the interest, or you use it in a smart way? That's the whole question. Well, first of all, we need to understand, why do people get into a lot of credit card debt? The first answer, probably most people would say, yeah, because the income is low, we don't make enough money. End of the month, we have no choice but to put stuff on a credit card. That can be true in some cases, but I believe the root that goes so deep, and the problem is, it's people's spending habits. A lot of people have very bad money spending habits. 90 plus percent of people spend money emotionally. And when you make emotional decisions with your money, believe me, you're not going to make good decisions. You're going to always buy more than what you can afford. You're always going to, put extra amount on how much you can afford. If, let's say, you want to buy a shoes and your budget is 200, and you see there is a sale in a mall, it says $1,000 shoes, 30% off. The first thing goes into your mind, man, I'm saving 30%. But you're forgetting the fact your budget was 200 and $1,000 30% off, it's 700. You went above your budget. How much? Another 500 bucks. So that's how people make decisions and put the extra amount on credit card. Well, you think you're going to end up with that $500? No. What most people do, they always put the minimum payment. That $500, probably you're going to pay it off next 2-3 years, and it's going to cost you not 500, but probably 800 bucks by the time you paid it off, which which increases your debt how many percent? Crazy when you run the numbers. So the first thing, when I sit down with people, before I give them directions how to build strong financial foundation, wealth and savings and emergency fund and all this good stuff to have a strong financial situation, I ask a lot of questions about their lifestyle, about their habits, how they deal with money. So my first advice is study you. How do you spend your money? Rule number one, when you get money, whether it's a paycheck or you're running a business or you're in sales, the first thing you got to do is change your spending style. When you get money, the first thing you got to do, save, invest, emergency fund, then going to pay your bills. Guess what most people do? The moment they get their paycheck, first thing they do is pay bills. And guess what? End of the day, end of the week, end of the month, nothing left, barely making the bill payments, remaining whatever is left, piling up their credit cards debt. And what's the interest rate nowadays in average credit card? 19%? If you're lucky, the average is probably 25 to 30%. And if you apply the rule of 72, how fast your money gonna double if you have $10,000 balance on your credit card? Based on your interest rate, it can double your debt next 3 to 5 to 8 years, depending on the interest rate you have. Study the rule of 72. You take the 72, divide by an interest they're charging you, it gives you a number. That number shows how fast your debt gonna double. So, can you live without debt? Absolutely, if you balance your emotional spending. Now, it's a different story if you're not making enough money and you're still balancing your spending. Then the solution is obviously get a better paid job or do something extra on the side. Matter of fact, that's how I started my business. When I look back my career, I go back 22 years. When I started this business, I was 18 years old, was working in a supermarket. At the time, it was John's Supermarket. I still remember on Hollywood and Vermont. I used to live in Hollywood. And when I got involved in this business, I started part-time. My goal was to make extra income on the side. It was not an easy decision because I was going school, high school, working full-time, and doing the business part-time. I juggled all this couple of years until my business started picking up, and then I quit my job and I went full-time. And that extra money, because I was in a finance business, I started learning from other successful people how they deal with their money. I learned a bullet point from this guy, from that, from this situation, from this seminar, from this education, and I start changing my habits. Because if you don't change your habits, what's going to happen? If you cannot manage your money, making less income, believe me, the solution is not making more money and then you're going to get rid of that problem. Matter of fact, you're going to get into bigger debts. Why? Because when you make more money and you still have the bad habits, you're going to spend more. That's what happens in reality. So to live debt-free, first check your emotions. How do you spend your money? Then make a strategy. If you, because of bad spending, you have some debt, make a strategic game plan. If you don't know how, direct message me. I'll show you what systems and structures and styles that I use and teach people how to get out of their existing debt. There's many avenues. If you play it smart, you can get out of there faster and never get back in it, and still have a good FICO score and still have credit cards, but with no balance. And when you use the balance, you pretty much pay no interest. Matter of fact, if you do it correctly, you're going to take advantage of a lot of the bonuses that credit cards gives. And that's going to not cost you money, but even make you money. How do you do that? Well, you got to ask the right people. You don't know someone, I'll be happy to assist you. Very short, simple video with couple of bullet points, but make sure apply it in your life. My Scribian, share the video. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. Subscribe it and share it. Any questions, direct message me. Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.